Well, hello there, SMNC back again, bringing you some support gameplay, actually. I mean, I'm not a particularly good support player, but basically I was trying to round out my team's composition. Um, Also, in other news, you know the cheeky hats that you get from random drops? I only found this out yesterday. It's pretty early in the morning right now. I'm doing this before I went to school, go to school even. But a cheeky hat is approximately equal to one bud as in iPod bud from TF2. So yeah, I had no idea that they were genuinely that rare, or expensive in TF2 currency. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the best support player. Heaven's Knight is better than me, I know for sure. I'm not sure how much support gameplay he has on his channel though. And that's really it as far as I know in terms of actual commentators who make YouTube videos and gameplay in general. So I don't know. Maybe you'll get something out of this. My general skill upgrade order, as you see, this gunner just being a complete retard. Is to get an early level of offense and then pretty much just leave it there, so that I have some way of sustaining my income. I personally don't play very much support, so I don't know if this is the best skill build, but once I've got my first level of offense, I will go on to get my just pretty much max out my overclock, get a level in Firebase at some point, and then just continue to max out airstrike, because airstrike and plus overclock is pretty much an area denied for a considerable amount of time. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I mean, generally what I've been trying to do with support, I mean, like I said, I'm really not a good support player. I wish I was better though, because I'm not sure whether I prefer support or combat girl. Combat girl, in my opinion, tends to lend herself to being a bit slightly more aggressive due to her laser. But I could be completely wrong on that. But yeah. Generally, you want to know quite a few classes. Everybody who plays SMNC should know at least one defender, so that you can fill that spot should your team need it. I mean, our team needed me to go to, a defender. Notice I don't say healer, because when people hear that, they immediately think either support or combat girl. And because Leo is genuinely a better defender in quite a lot of situations, provided your team actually can adjust their playstyle to him, so pretty much just manage their HP properly. If you can do that, he's a very, very strong pick. And in the Tiki tournament that's coming up, I do expect to see quite a lot of teams actually choose him over support or combat girl. It really will not surprise me if they do. But yeah, our team needed a defender, so I decided to play that role. And like I said, I'm not the best, I'm learning, but I do actually somehow manage to come top of my team. So yeah, I must have been doing something right, I guess. Well, that or the enemy team was bad. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to do now, gone through my skill build, is just put pressure on the put pressure on the enemy by spamming airstrikes, pretty much, and making sure that nobody on my team will die. Pretty much just anybody who gets low, like that Megabeth was a few seconds ago, just top them up to full health and then look for another target to heal. You do currently get armor for leashing, but I don't find it very beneficial unless it's somebody like the gunner who's on our team. As you see me just topping off that Wascott, and then you said bullseye for a second there. Like I was saying, just make sure that anyone who's on low health actually doesn't die. You want to die as many kills as possible with as support. And generally, you don't want to be going overly Rambo like I did there. I mean, that I was trying to secure a kill, but I think our assault actually ended up getting it. So that's actually better. That's actually better than my team getting it. And I actually wanted to talk about 5 things that I see people doing wrong fairly consistently. And if you actually get these right, they'll improve your game by a lot. First one is the Annihilator. Okay, with the Annihilator, people either ignore it completely or are far too keen to get it. What I mean by this is people will either ignore it flat out, just because they don't know what it is, or they will be trying to get up there a minute and a half too early, which is just completely and utterly wrong. Generally, you want to be up there with 30 seconds to go, and your defender, so either Leo, Combat Girl, or Support, up there with 40 seconds to go. The reason behind this is that a defender needs a bit of time to set up their turret. You don't want them to be gone from the lanes for too long. Leo needs to make sure he's got his heal charged up, and Support and Combat Girl need to be sustaining those pushes, especially due to Support and Combat Girl having rather large AoE nukes. Being in the combat laser and the airstrike. God, I nearly forgot what they were called for a second there. And if you can get that timing, that's perfect, because, like I say, you don't want to be out of the lanes for too long. If you do, you fall a bit behind in bot kills. The enemy team is a higher level than you, and they have that slight advantage over you for the Annihilator. Then, pretty much, you want to have your highest level person get the Annihilator, because the highest level does the Annihilator damage scales with level. So if you've got your highest level person using the Annihilator, that's going to do the most damage to enemies, and allow you to jump on them as soon as it's gone. Now, if you are behind when your team tries to get the Annihilator, you shouldn't just flat out don't try and get the Annihilator. What you should be doing is try and preventing the enemy team from getting the Annihilator. Now, what I mean by this is it's kind of difficult to do without certain pros on your team. But if you have got, for example, a support on your team, if you've got a veteran on your team, if you've got an assault on your team, Cheston as well, due to his banana, and also Rampage when it comes to the Loco Moco one, which is possibly the easiest one to defend. Not 100% sure on that though. But you need Carl especially. Actually, I nearly forgot about him. Carl, due to his prop pop and also stun. Um, but yeah, you need somebody who's got fairly good knockback or area denial. I don't mention Gunner in this because generally he's quite easy to see coming and then prevent from doing so. But just as an example, someone like support, he can stand fairly far away from the Annihilator, as you'll see me do later this match actually, and through a combination of overclock and airstrike can just pretty much prevent anybody from staying on that button long enough to activate it. Due to the rather large knockback on it. Assault can do it with his bomb as well, and then Carl can pretty much just go up there, jump up there, prop hop, and run away, because the enemies are all scattered. Doesn't work quite as well on Bullet Gorge, but it's very strong on both Loco and Spunky Cola. And yeah, that's that for the Annihilator. Now, like I said at the beginning of the game, I was trying to round up my team's composition, and team composition is something that you generally want to get right within a certain degree. Now, generally, if you're getting the if you want a good team composition, you want to be having you want to have at least one enforcer. It doesn't really matter which one. Generally, you will generally want to in Veteran and Cheston, because they're just as a little explanation for this, Cheston is currently probably the strongest enforcer due to the massive amount of utility that he's got, and Veteran you want for his hard initiation via the claw. If you have both of them on your team, then you're probably going to do quite well. Not perfectly by any means, but generally quite well. Then, as well as that, you want one striker just so that you can carry the team and have quite good chasing power, and one defender. Like I said, you want to have somebody who can heal. Yes, Leo is a healer. Shut up and stop your whining. And someone who's got quite good area denial. Leo isn't quite as good for his area denial, simply because the Venice defense isn't incredibly strong. But he is fairly good. I mean, he's more of a bot pusher than an area denier, but he is very strong at doing so. And that's why you want him on your team. He's got that clutch heal for the middle of team fights when people are low, which is very, very strong, and he's one of the strongest, if not the strongest, bot pusher in the game. Now, another mistake that a lot of people make is to do with bots. People in general just don't understand what you should be doing with bots. I don't know if this is mainly due to the fact that a lot of people come from an FPS background rather than a MOBA background, but regardless, everybody, there's the only exceptions I've seen. Actually, I don't think I have seen many exceptions at all, but when people first come into the game, they generally don't do very well, and it's simply because they don't get enough bot kills. You want to be getting a minimum of 5 bot kills a minute, with the exceptions being heal heavy supports and combat girls. because they can get their money through that. You do want to be tagging bots as much as possible, which is just, rather than healing, you switch to your hurt gun about 5 seconds before they die, so when they're about 10% health. And then that's pretty much it, although support and combat girl can chuck their strikes into the lane for a fair amount of additional damage and quite a few extra bot kills. But yeah, then there's also spawning bots. People tend to either spawn the wrong bots or spawn bots at the wrong time. Generally, you don't want to spawn any kinds of bots 1 minute before the Annihilator. Before the Annihilator button comes up. It's a bit difficult, as you've probably guessed, to tell when the Annihilator is going to be active, especially if your team is actually semi-organized about it. But you will generally want to be spawning bots as soon as the Annihilator has gone, or rather been used, regardless of whether you got it or the enemy team got it. And then also you want to have you also don't want to be spawning jackbots. Jackbots are an incredible waste of money, and should only really be spawned to speed up the game when the enemy's money ball is down. They're a massive waste of money otherwise, because they go down so easily. I mean, if you've got enough money for a jackbot, what you should do is buy 2 bot waves. That's $500 Fuji bot waves, and also a juice, because juice that will push both lanes, whereas the jackbot will only push one if you're lucky, and it doesn't get immediately focused down. And then also you've got that juice for clutch heals as well. And generally, bouncers are very strong bot waves. Fujis are the strongest, and blackjacks are the weakest. Blackjacks are really not strong bot waves. There's not much that you can do with blackjack. I mean, the only thing that blackjacks are useful for is jungle dominance as Leo. Just use your bot screw to take them over, and then pretty much you've got the jungle secured, because you've got additional bots up there whilst they haven't. Now, that's pretty much everything in terms of bots. I mentioned the jungle, and people seem to get this wrong a hell of a lot, and I really don't know why, because it's not that difficult. Generally, at the beginning of a match, you only want your strikers and commandos up in the jungle. You don't want too many people up in the jungle. More than 2 is a waste, and you only want 1 person to be trying to get the first gremlin. The reason behind this is if you end up getting having to split the money and fight over the cash that you can get from jungle bots, there's actually less money in jungle bots than there is in the lane, so it's pretty much pointless. There is a reason for the commandos to go up there, which is that for a single person the income is better, simply due to the fact that it's one bot and the cash gain is fairly good. But if you're sharing it, like I said before, it is pretty poor. Then if the reason why you do want that enforcer enforcer and not enforcer, striker and commando up there, is you want your commando to get the first spot, the first gremlin, and the striker goes up there to just bodyguard them. You don't really want the striker up there for an extended period of time. They need to be focusing their attention onto the lanes, which is just what you should be doing generally as a striker. Strikers are just amazing bot farmers in general. That they always have been, they always will be, pretty much. And your commandos are up there simply so that they can get that level advantage and then drop down onto other people. Once they've got a bit of a level advantage, they don't need to stay up there as much anymore. You can pretty much just ignore it from about the 2-minute mark up onwards. But yeah, you also want fairly good jungle control, but you don't want to be sacrificing the lane control and pushing power that you would otherwise have. There is no when you've got the enemy team pushed back into their base and you can sit at the top of the jump pads in their base to the jungle, then sure, by all means take jungle control. It's going to be very, very strong and do a lot of work for you. But don't just don't otherwise. There's not really much to it. I've already gone over the Annihilator, but yeah, there's really not a considerably large reason to be up there for other than for the Annihilator, and then even so, I've already gone over that. The last thing that I really wanted to go over was chasing and positioning. Now this is very much class dependent and very much dependent on just everything in general, really. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very difficult thing to definitively say, oh, your positioning's bad, until it's already until something has happened. And what I mean by your positioning is bad is you're too far away from either turrets that aren't already shooting at something, or you're too far away from a large group of teammates who will be able to pack you up and protect you from anybody who's chasing. For example, at the moment you wouldn't be considered overextending, really. I mean, only thing is possibly our positioning due to the veteran. You want to be able to avoid his claw, but other than that, we've got teammates that we can retreat behind. Our bot waves are fairly pushed up, quite close to where we are currently. There's no reason for us not to be here. And when you're chasing, it's quite difficult to say, oh, you should be doing this at the moment. You shouldn't chase this, you should chase that. Chasing, though, is very, very dependent on what class, though. I mean, Assassin can chase people to the ends of the earth due to her cloak and high mobility. Assault can also chase people fairly well due to his fly and just being able to fly far, far above turrets, and then snipe people with his bomb. But it's not a very black and white thing, but I can tell you one thing for sure: if you are pushing into the enemy's half within the range for either a commando to lunge into a grapple, a veteran to lunge into a grapple, basically if you're within range for somebody to run at you and grapple you, then you're probably overextending, especially if you're anywhere near the enemy turret range without a massive group of bots. But yeah, that's really all I've got to say for the moment. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.
Victory for the Hot Shots. Ooh, let's do this tiki style. Good night, combat fans. See you next week.